All right, let's get back to the NBA. Talking Celtics Heat. Game 2 set for tonight. Miami took Game 1 thanks in large part to Jimmy Butler. 41-9 for Jimmy. Jimmy's getting hot. Not going to get any easier for Boston tonight. Marcus Smart's return still up in the air. He's hoping to play despite that foot injury. And then Al Horford's still likely out. He's in the health and safety protocol. But Broussard, there's a good chance this comes down to Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum. Between the two, who's more likely to have a big Game 2?
Well, look, Butler has been the more consistent player through the playoffs. The only game in which he wasn't very good or great was Game 1 against Philly. That's 11 playoff games. And even in that one, he wasn't horrible, and they won by double figures. So Butler will be good. It'll be tougher on him because Marcus Smart looks like he'll be back, and he won't be able to just pick on Peyton Pritchard. But I'm going to go with Jason Tatum because while a 2-0 deficit is obviously not an insurmountable hole to be in, as we've seen in the playoffs, you still don't want to have to dig yourselves out of that against a well-coached and solid, hard-nosed team. So I think that the Celtics view this as a game. Their backs are against the wall. And every time that's been the case in the postseason, Jason Tatum has stepped up. At the end of Game 1 against Brooklyn, when it looked like the Nets would steal home court advantage, right, he hits a game-winning layup. Game 2 against Milwaukee, when they were, in danger going down 2-0 at home, he goes out 29 points, 8 assists. And obviously Game 6, we all remember against Milwaukee when he drops 46, 16 in the fourth quarter. So, Nick, I think Tatum will come out and be great. And look, he was great in Game 1 in the first half. 21 points, 5 assists. He had one horrific quarter. And a lot of it, even though Miami played great defense, a lot of it was self-induced. He made some bad decisions. Marcus Smart, if he's back, will handle the ball a lot more than Tatum. Tatum won't have to handle it as much as a point guard as he did in Game 1. So I expect Tatum, Nick, to come out and play a great game, and Jimmy to play well for sure.
The only thing you said there that I might take issue with is I don't know that I thought his third quarter, a lot of it was self-induced. I think Miami was forcing him into those turnovers, similar to what Boston did to Durant in round 1. Maybe one of those turnovers was just a careless pass, the one where Jimmy Butler came from the backside and tipped it away. But I thought a lot of that was Miami's intensity and physicality, and Tatum, who has been meeting that at each level, did not meet their level of intensity and physicality in that quarter, which was obviously the turning point of the game. I have an interesting Jason Tatum stat for you, though. The Celtics have obviously played 12 playoff games this year. They are 5-0, not when Tatum scores 30, but they are 5-0 when Tatum shoots at least 50% from the field. They're 3-4 when he doesn't. What has been the secret sauce for Boston is not necessarily Tatum, scoring a ton of points. That's obviously helpful, but Tatum being very efficient. When he's been efficient, they have not lost a single playoff game. And I think Tatum will play well. But with that said, Wilds, I think it's disrespectful to Jimmy Butler at home right now to say we expect anybody in this series to be better than him when Jimmy Butler has been, other than Giannis, in my opinion, the best player on his side of the bracket throughout the postseason. And we can show you their side-by-sides throughout the playoffs. As good as Tatum has been, Butler has been better. And that field goal percentage line, to me, is very noteworthy. That now, in fairness to Tatum, he takes a ton of threes, and Butler takes very few threes. So, of course, his field goal percentage is going to be lower in that regard. His effective true field goal percentage or true shooting percentage is closer, but Butler still has the nod. And so Jimmy Butler, particularly because remember, he missed game 5 or game 6 against Atlanta in the first round. Since then, once he's been, fully healthy again, he hasn't had a bad game. To Brew's point. So I would give the slight nod to Butler, and that's not shade at Tatum. It's just respect for what Butler's been able to do on both ends.
So I think Butler will play great. I think Tatum will also play great with the addition of Marcus Smart. Marcus handles the ball the most. He's second in touches. Tatum is still first in touches. But I think Tatum will be able to just be Tatum and not Tatum and Marcus. But more interestingly, and I'll throw this to you, Nick, I think Tatum needs to have a bigger game. I know we joke around about club superstar, one in, one out, but the story of this playoffs has been guys stealing other guys' lunch money. Sort of like, I know you thought you were a star, but now it's my turn. And we saw the Celtics do it, first with Durant and Kyrie, a little bit with Giannis, but Giannis played great, but still like, we got over on you. We saw it with Ja. Anthony Edwards, you think you're the guy? I'm the guy. We saw it with Luka. Donovan, are we on the same level? Not even close. How about you and me, Devin Booker? Not close. DeAndre Ayton, you're the number one pick? Nope, I'm better than you. Chris Paul, point guard, I'm also better than you. So I think Jimmy Butler, we know is a fierce competitor. I think he's hearing all this Tatum stuff. I think he's seen the Celtics knock everybody off, knock off, two superstars.
Didn't get the invite to Superstar.
You know what? I'm Jimmy Butler. We're the number one seed. You're not going to respect me. I'm going to show you what's up. So I think Jimmy Butler is coming for Tatum's lunch money, and Tatum needs to put an end to it. If he's truly a superstar, if he's truly who we think he is, he will have a huge game and try to shut down Jimmy a little bit.
He is, Brew, he's clearly, truly a superstar because he's literally in Club Superstar. Jimmy Butler probably should be in. Again, we're looking at our admissions policy. But, Brew, let me ask you this quickly here. Let's say Butler and Tatum are a wash. They both score around 30, both play good defense, both are, 12 of 21 from the field en route to getting there. I think that favors Miami because right now, I trust Miami's others more than I trust Boston's others when Horford's out, when Jaylen Brown has been pretty shaky, if we're being honest, throughout this postseason. And I thought, Miami won game one going away with Bam Adebayo not having a big game. So if Tatum and Butler play as a wash, who do you think that favors tonight in game two?
I think it favors Boston because, Brown's been up and down, but he's also had some big, huge games. And I think, I don't think there's anybody, with respect to Bam, who's obviously an interior player, I like Brown better than anyone after Butler and Tatum. And then, look, Grant Williams, they miss Horford, but I think Smart will be good if his foot isn't just killing him. And I think Grant Williams obviously is capable of stepping up. So Miami's got more depth, but I like Boston's others kind of at the top of the other list.
You need that kind of confidence, don't you? You need it. We got to start out west. Wilds is still putting his microphone on. Wilds is a late bloomer to the show every morning. Warriors hosting the Mavs in game one. We love you, though. Hey, we talked about this all week. How do you stop Luka Doncic, right? He came in averaging more than 31 this postseason. The answer? Do whatever the Warriors did last night. They held Luka to a season playoff low 20 points on 6 of 18 shooting, 7 turnovers as well. Mavs lose, Warriors win. They take game one. Nick, you picked the Mavs to win the series. You picked them with your chest out, with bass in your voice, a la Chris Broussard. Right. Are you worried after what you saw last night?
No, I'm not worried because I think the adjustments are quite obvious on both sides of the ball. I am shocked, though, and I give the Warriors massive credit. They held Luka Doncic to what his first truly bad playoff game of his entire career. I thought he would get to the record, which was held by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, unofficial record, longest streak to start a career without a bad playoff game, 40. He came up about 15 short. So another knock, in the con column of will Luka became the greatest player of all time. Kareem holds that record along with basically every other NBA record that matters. But that's neither here nor there. The Warriors' defensive game plan was a brilliant masterstroke, and the Mavs did not seem prepared for it. The Warriors had exploitable players on the court throughout the game in Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, and unfortunately at this point, Klay Thompson's also one of those exploitable players, and the Mavs were not able to exploit it. At times, it looked like they had never dealt with the zone defense. And on the other end of the court, the Warriors were able to play whatever players they wanted to as far as in order to stop Luka on the defensive end. On the offensive end, they could do whatever they wanted because the Mavs were unable to stop Kevon Looney and Draymond Green and Otto Porter from going 14 of 18 from the field for 30 points. So it was a disastrous game on both ends of the court for the Mavs. The Mavs defense was bad, their pace was bad, and they want to play slow, but they don't want to play quite as slow as they did last night. Their offense was the worst I've seen it ever in a postseason game with Luka Doncic. So that all happened. I don't think they should be concerned because the adjustments are obvious, and I think Jason Kidd will make them. I do, however, want to give one slight warning, or, just a point of advice to Broussard and Wilds. This show is the best when all of us are able to, bathe ourselves in some form of glory throughout a series. It is not going to be good for the two of you if you don't learn from your awful, grievous mistakes of the previous round. If you start taking victory laps after a home Game 1 win, it will work out well for me in the end, but I would like raising tide. I would like all boats. So I would just say, I think it behooves you to be tempered with your